Hello, everyone. It's just me today to read you the letter that I've sent you in other ways, just in case this is an easier way to share all the ideas. So I thought I would read the message and send it as a video so you can listen to it if you want to as well. I thought of you this morning. You came into my mind as a sudden squall of rain whipped up all the leaves in the window for a while on its way to somewhere else. My water company wrote expressly to point out that despite the torrential rain falling where we can see it, in those great puddles on the road, muddy footprints in the kitchen, probably smelly wet dogs, in crosspatch faces and awkward umbrella management on pavements and public transport, despite all of that, only a small amount of water has so far seeped down into the depths from whence it can rejuvenate the supplies to our taps. It means the process goes on and on and on, even though there's so much water at the surface. I imagine the rain falling in the Lake District, where Christine and Graham were on holiday a couple of weeks ago, gradually seeping its way into the earth, but also trickling down the country to the south. I thought of the different worlds above and below the ground, of the things we see and of all the things that we don't see. Yifei sang us A Whole New World from the Disney film Aladdin. And when she talked about why she'd chosen it, I suddenly encountered it in a completely different way. Through her eyes, it really was a whole new world to me. And in a window, looking out from the way my world usually looks to me. This line struck me particularly, soaring, tumbling, freewheeling on a magic carpet ride. I thought that it was such a lovely way of thinking about sharing our different views with each other, sort of taking the hand of someone who offers a different guided route through our autumn collection, according to what's caught their eye. Perhaps Leslie's description of out of the ordinary as mind massage is on the same wavelength as those words. Or perhaps a whole new world, referring to your joining us on an unidentified flying object called Galaxy A20E, Leslie. Boldly going move that inspired our musical improvisation on the theme of close encounters. We love the idea that you have homework of sorts, starting points perhaps, that you might want to explore between our sessions. Hermione and I find a lot of solace in the thought that this project is always running along in the background for us, massaging our minds and keeping the world a beautiful place, even when the days are stressful or gloomy or the news is bad or we don't feel very well. So here's a thought for you to explore this week. Browse the photo album and decide what you would like to share from it. We want to be guided by the hand through the looking glass of you as you look at our different views. And let's see how we like that idea. Might the idea of captured splashes of colour strike you? Look out for Esther's poppy meadow as we approach Remembrance Day this week. Or the similar shapes and patterns in what we've seen? Is it the parallel perspectives of different buildings, different views in different places that overlap with each other unknowingly? Maybe you've run with the idea of seats, from the grandest of noble piles to the most secret of woodland nooks. Or Louise's secretly snapped sleeper, frowned on most loudly by the graffiti above him. That's an excellent picture, Louise. I like the photograph of John sat in a comradely pose with one of Anthony Gormley's figures on the beach. Are you looking from above or below? From a soaring bird's eye view, maybe like the formation of geese that Martina saw while we were playing the opening music? Or the rootling around in the undergrowth like a curious canine amongst the toadstools. Talking of a seat or a stool. Thank you for that, Steve. Perhaps the idea of a soliloquy or a recitative resonates with you. Delivered to an audience of one solitary bird in my misty view of Ealing Common, or to the benign compliance of a quiet churchyard. Micaias responded to this when choosing his trombone piece for us last week. And his playing was filled with a gentle sense of longing that reached through the screen to John Samuel particularly. Samuel, you thought you might be inspired to add your voice to the solo we recorded in the session, and I would absolutely love to send something to Micaias with you in it too. I can't remember the name of that piece, Micaias. Maybe you can help us there. A shared song, it would be. sent through the weeks. Isn't it lovely to realise what a difference we make to each other? I noticed that the idea of collage and journal making has inspired Margot this week. She's arranged the spoils of autumn foraging into a series of artworks, turning something into something else, or perhaps stripping away the illusion to leave the truest, most sincere voice of something that might be felt rather than explained. Jess conjured up the rainbow lorikeets of Australia, as well as the virtuoso gymnastics of the lyrebird, eventually uncovering its own voice in the music. You can see all the photographs we've collected in our family album. This is a new idea that we hope will work for you, fingers crossed. We hope you can choose your own meandering journey through everything, differently every day if you wanted, free associating as you go. Or you might pick something out that stands out to you and carrying it into your week to look at other things through that lens. We hope it will be like those choose your own adventure books. When I was a teenager, those were a bit of a craze. Or like being invited to curate your own gallery exhibition. Or perhaps some people might respond strongly to the feel of one particular image, needing no words to bring it to life with music in one of our sessions. You have some options, and we look forward to seeing how these ideas work for you and how you run with them. Like the Scarf for Louis project that John Samuel shared, Out of the Ordinary is made up of each of us. I think, Geraldine, it was you who drew our attention to the huge number of loving stitches that go into making such a gigantic collective effort as the Scarf for Louis. I hope that's what we are too, a whole series of loving stitches knitted into something out of the ordinary. And what about the old and the new, like those original trees in my first image? Steve and Geraldine compared notes about the old ways and the pagan tradition of some of those living in Steve and Margot's village. And Gregory found a parallel with Thornton Wilder's play Our Town in the picture of the bench in the sunny churchyard. All the characters in Our Town give their perspective from beyond their lifetimes, looking back on ordinary things like the smell of coffee or a hot bath that seems so extraordinary in their afterwards existence once they're dead. In contrast, there's always that sense of particular aliveness in new things, isn't there? Sometimes unwelcome and uncomfortable, like trying to hold on to a hot potato. A sense that these new things don't let you take them for granted. And in just this way, Christine and Graham's new laptop meant that we couldn't hear them last time, although we could see them much better than before. It's a mystery why this was. If we can do anything at all to help you, Christine and Graham, just let us know. Maybe a separate tech setup session ahead of the next session might be helpful, or we could just log on a bit earlier. Just let us know. Or perhaps we could decide to let our bodies open the window from the interior worlds of our minds and senses to share experiences in a different way that doesn't rely on words. I know I love the process of expressing my ideas in words, but our bodies and especially our hands are very expressive too. I'm thinking about Mike's hands, his dark gloves against his chest, and also the way that Margot's fingers faded out against the brightness of the window behind her during the closing music. Maybe we can find ways to share our ideas that are guided by movement this week and that don't need words at all. When you look through the album, perhaps a particular image might stand out as a starting point for musical exchange. But like in the video we saw last week, as Michael's story explains in that video, explains it so beautifully, Michael. A little music can make all the difference in the world. So I'm looking forward to creating a little music with you on Friday and seeing what kind of ideas have sprung up in your minds through our photograph album. So I shall sign off now and see you on Friday. The email contains a link to this letter and all the videos that we took in the last session, and all manner of things to send to you. And there's also a link to the photograph album. We're crossing our fingers that will work for you. We're not absolutely certain, so do let us know how it works. And if it doesn't work at all, we'll try something else. It's wonderful to look forward to seeing you and great to have this time to share with you. So I will see you on Friday. Looking forward to it.